in terms of like the negative questions that Liverpool have got asked, the only one is really who's going to play midfield, because you're right, in terms of Liverpool's starting 11, you might have questions about the depth in certain situations, but we know the back four is going to be, we know probably a couple of the midfielders, he's got options there, any of the front five, pick three of those to play, but there is a question about this number 6 role. So McConnell's played there, Curtis Jones played there, Trent's played there, it's been a bit all over the place during pre-season. Now Jürgen said in his press conference, didn't he, it's absolutely clear we're working on solutions, and I think everyone can imagine that. Am I taking too much out of the S on solutions? Because the obvious solution that we know about is Romeo Lavia, and we'll touch on him in a minute, but I don't know, maybe it's just the way it was worded or whatever, but it feels to me like there is a chance Liverpool could still get 2 more midfielders in. I don't know if I'm reading too much into that.
Well, it might not be 2 more midfielders, it might be a right back and a midfielder, but I wouldn't take that as like a solution. You know, it would be a lot more noticeable if Klopp said we are working on a solution. You know, I think people would have said, "All right, okay, we know what we're doing there." It's interesting, you know, because we've seen so many different aspects to it, haven't we? I mean, McConnell, we can write him off as a first team player this season. You know, listen, he's had a really good summer, and Liverpool aren't going to be, you would imagine, not going to be using him as he's there for the pre-season and for his development, and great. I think Curtis is an interesting one. You know, I think there's certain games where I think he'd be absolutely fine in that role. You know, when Liverpool have got a lot of the ball, you know, he's a really good, keeps the ball, doesn't he? And he doesn't, you know, he's physically strong enough to take the ball under pressure, and he can turn out of trouble and that kind of thing. So I think there will, but if you're looking at the first game of the season against Chelsea, you'd be like, ooh, that would be a big test of Curtis as a number 6, as I think it would be of Trent as a number 6. Now I think it's quite interesting that we're seeing when Gomez comes on and Tsimikas does it, doesn't he? It tilts. So when Trent plays at right back, the right back goes into midfield, or Bradley has been doing it. When Gomez is on the pitch, they don't want Gomez doing that. They have him staying back, and they have Tsimikas doing it. So they clearly don't. You know, that hybrid role's only for certain players, isn't it? It's not a system sort of. Liverpool our right back's going to be our Roman midfield player. So I think there's still some bits to work out, but yeah, that's the one question mark that you've got over at the moment is. Don't forget, Bajcetic and Thiago. I think Bajcetic wants to get back from Singapore. I think Thiago's not too far behind, so there's still those two to come back as well into the picture, and both of those theoretically could play as a number 6 as well. So there's a little bit of potential extra, you know, options there. But right now, I would probably say Curtis would play as a number 6 at this moment in time. If nothing happens against Chelsea, and I think that could be okay, but would also be a big test of him, and that's not ideal going into the new season. You don't want that sort of situation where it's like maybe it'll be good. You know, you'd want a bit more sort of clarity going into it. But I think everything else. I mean, I do think the presence of McAllister in particular, I think does help that number 6 role a lot, because you can see that you can always find them. You know, it takes so much. I saw a few negative comments, and I think they were aimed at Henderson, weren't they, obviously, but it was a bit like sort of, isn't it nice to have someone in that advanced sort of midfield role who is comfortable receiving the ball on the half turn and doesn't, I sort of described as, doesn't treat the ball like a live grenade, was one of the comments I saw, and I understand what they mean, but I think that is a really important part of McAllister, is he takes a lot of pressure off it, because you know that if you were Fabinho, obviously he was playing there, or you're Trent, or you're whoever, that it's just, there you go. You've got an out ball all the time. He's always ready. Yeah, he's always ready to do that, isn't he? And I thought it was quite telling. That first goal the other day was Curtis with a little rolled pass, and then bang bang, two quick passes through the lines, and Liverpool were away, weren't they, and in on goal, and that changes the way Liverpool play, doesn't it? There's a lot more what's the word, like cutting edge to their passes through there, and maybe having someone like Curtis in that position or around that position who doesn't need to spray it, doesn't need to sort of do it. All his job is just to tick it, and then there you go, little layoff to the players who are going to play those line breaking passes.
It's just whether it's defensive, isn't it? I think that's most people's worry at this moment in time. I understand. Like I haven't completely ruled out Pochettino. I mean, I don't know. We'll speak about Pochettino, but listen, if he's back playing and he can get in that Preston friendly, and then maybe they're willing to get him in there. Which
he needs some games. He's he's already 3 weeks behind, isn't he? In terms of, or certainly there's 3 weeks in it, pretty much. Behind in terms of his. So you would think it's tight for the first game of the season. He'd maybe be involved on the bench and stuff, but Thiago the same. Thiago hasn't played. Bajcetic hasn't played since February, I think. Thiago probably not for April, I would say. So there's a lot of getting up to speed for those players to come. I think it would be probably too soon to throw them into the first few games of the Premier League season from the start. But I think Liverpool, that's the one area really that looks like, it's going to hold Liverpool back early in the season. Is just they haven't got that position nailed down yet, and we wait and see whether how and when they do it.
Yeah, absolutely. We might as well move on then, because one guy obviously who could fill that role potentially doesn't even play for us yet, Romeo Lavia. So again, not much has changed really in terms of Liverpool. Apparently negotiations are ongoing. It was interesting that David Ornstein tweeted over the weekend, or X, what do we call it? I'm sticking with tweeted. Sorry, Elon. I'm going to stick with tweeted. He said Chelsea are also now considering a moving for him, given the fact that they're really struggling to get Moises Caicedo out of Brighton. And I think that did set a couple of alarm bells off when you saw, obviously, he says they're also considering alternative options, including Romeo Lavia, in terms of not getting Caicedo. I think most of us would have liked everything to be sped up by now. It feels like as time recording, Fabinho still hasn't left. We're expecting that to be very, very shortly. That's been taking ages. I know he flew out to the Middle East. He's done medicals apparently, but it just feels like, again, it's another one that's just. I know. I always think that I'm maybe being a bit impatient with transfers, and I get it because it's not that easy. But it just feels like this one's going really, really slowly. Yeah, and I think that is causing a little bit of tension, because you are right. The clock is ticking towards Chelsea now, and if Liverpool did want Lavia in the team for Chelsea, they're almost running out of time.
They've only got 2 games left.
2 games, and one's on the other side of the world.
Yeah, and at least he's been playing, hasn't he? Played again at the weekend, didn't he? For
the last 15.
Yeah, for Southampton, and played obviously 45 a couple of days previously, didn't he? But yeah, you're right. You want it done, really, don't you? And I guess part of it is linked to Fabinho. There must be a little element of, right, can't press the button on this until Fabinho's gone. There's been obviously a hindrance with that deal. Looks like that's been overcome last week, and I think we talked about that. To me, a bit of a hurry up. The Chelsea one, obviously, I can see why people would be worried about it. I mean, they're obviously trying to get a lot of players in. I mean, they've just agreed a fee for 2 players from France, haven't they? Dizazi and forgive me, the young midfielder that they've made a move for from Rennes, I think. So maybe that's their sort of alternative to Lavia. The feeling was Liverpool were sort of had done the tough part, really, in terms of the player wants to come to Liverpool, and now it's a case of agreeing the fee. But you're right, it doesn't feel like they're miles apart in the negotiation or the evaluations. So we wait with interest to see if they make some progress soon. But you would want him in, really. You'd want him to have a game before he's playing, or going into the Premier League season. You would definitely want him to have a game. I don't think you're going to see him against Bayern Munich on Wednesday. I don't think there's much chance of that, even if they were to sign him today. So you're looking at that sort of Darmstadt game, aren't you? Was that a week today, isn't it?
The game at Preston.
A week today, yeah. So you ideally, really, you want him in by then, or you want anyone, never mind Lavia, anyone that they're going to sign. So let's see. I think Jürgen was clearly sort of in his press conference. He didn't shy away from the idea, did he? It wasn't the same as last summer or the summer before when it was just like, what are you moaning about? Like, we've midfielders. Look at James McConnell. There wasn't that kind of tone to it. It was clear that he understands that that's the area that needs the attention, and yeah. It is a fascinating sort of first game of the season, really, isn't it? And if it is Lavia as the player, because it's Liverpool v Chelsea, as it stands, there's a chance he could be lined up for either side at the moment. But I think Liverpool remain favourites for that one.
Hey guys, that was a clip from our Journo Insight show. If you want to watch or indeed listen to the entire episode with me and with Neil Jones, of course, then head on over to redmenplus.com straight away. That is available for you in video and podcast form every Monday and every Thursday until the transfer window shuts. Redmenplus.com. I'll see you over there.
Thank you so much for checking out the show today. If you need more Liverpool content in your life, whether it's podcasts, videos, interviews, or great Liverpool documentaries, head over and subscribe to redmenplus.com today. It funds everything we do across all the free platforms, and we give you amazing content each and every week.